Hello everyone, and welcome back to another game. In this game, we're going to be casting a deathmatch matchup between the Viper and Tato versus True and Daywalker. These are four of the top deathmatch players in the upcoming deathmatch tournament. And the Viper and Tato are playing on the same team. True and Daywalker, they will be on different teams in the tournament, but they're among some of the best deathmatch players. And yeah, this should be a good prequel to the tournament and some good practice to see who might win the tournament in the future. So some of the best deathmatch players here. I'm here with JRed Deathmatch, and JRed, you could introduce the players.
So on the green we have True, and he's currently playing as the Britons, kind of an interesting civilization. Not a very good deathmatch civ, but that's fine because his ally, who is in the red, is playing as the Turks, and this is Snow Daywalker. I don't know too much about this player, but he's the Turks, and he's going to go for some camels at first, which is a good Turk opening. And he's facing off against the Viper, who is playing as the Britons. We all know Viper for being one of the best players, if not the best player in the world. And Viper is teaming with his new teammate, who is Tato, who's another top player. And Tato's the Turks, and he's going for heavy cavalry archers and camels at the moment.
Yeah, we all know the Turks the best civilization. So the last deathmatch tournament, 1-versus-1 tournament, I believe the Viper may have won it. He was definitely in the finals along with Kellen, I believe. And he's definitely one of the best deathmatch players. Tato has a little bit left to learn. Certainly one of the best RMers. But playing random map and deathmatch are two completely different game modes. And these other players, True and Daywalker, they're pretty much exclusively deathmatch players. So they really know this game mode inside and out.
Yes, definitely. It is interesting if you look at their starts, though, to see what kind of different strategies they've gone for. So, for example, in the red with Daywalker, he's going for a lot of early stables and early castles, and some early workshops too. And this is really strong because you need to get the rams out, so that way you can deal with the Briton longbows, because that's who he's facing off against. But he still has to have some camels out, so that way that gives him some map mobility, and if the other Turk player decides to use their cavalry. So it's kind of interesting to see that they've gone. So for example, Tato has not gone for any castles at all, and instead he's going for heavy cavalry archers.
Absolutely. In the early game, one of the biggest things about deathmatch is killing those early villagers, and also obtaining map control and getting out as much army as possible. So right now you can see on the map, both players trying to compete for that middle of the map, as players are starting to get up a lot of their most powerful units out, a lot of their unique units, and set up for the big engagement that's going to happen pretty soon.
Yep, and you can see here, there's a small engagement going on with some camels against this arbalests. Camels versus arbalests is an interesting matchup, I guess you could say, because while the arbalests are normally pretty good, the camels just have mobility, which can be valuable. But you can see that the Viper's using this arbalest to try to snipe villagers and kind of slow his opponent down, which is really what the early game is all about. You have to slow your opponent down so that way you can have a better advantage going forward into the game.
Large battle for map control in the south of the map. It's kind of interesting the difference in army composition between the two Turk players, Tato and Daywalker. Daywalker has gone for a heavier camel build, which to me it seems like more of a defensive build. And the cavalry archers, although very strong for the Turks, they are more expensive than the camels. So one thing that you have to keep in mind, you get a lot of each resource in deathmatch, but only 10,000 gold, and that 10,000 gold does go by pretty quickly. So I wonder how this is going to impact maybe Tato's later game if he's burned through so much of his gold early on.
Yeah, if he keeps the cavalry archers alive, that's not going to be that much of a problem, but the camels are coming in, and they could deal some major damage.
He's really making a heavy play for this castle. All the siege ramps, however, going down to camels of Daywalker. Daywalker's going to make a run for the trebuchets. However, they're going to get mowed down by the cavalry archers. And let's see if True can pick off some of these trebuchets with his longbows. And looks like he will be able to get one of these trebuchets, and he's going to try to go for the second as well. Just those cavalry archers not really able to get within range of the longbows. And now the onagers coming in as well.
Yep, it's kind of interesting. And what you were saying about the economy, you can see players are already starting to put town centers out, and oftentimes people, when they play deathmatch, they think, oh, I have all these resources, I don't need to get an economy out. But that's absolutely not true. And you can see that it's already minute 10, you can see, and people are already starting to put town centers on gold. And in the north, we have a pretty exciting engagement where Daywalker, he's just running his rams in, and rams are, they're good if you're using them as a meat shield, but he's not using ranged units behind it, so I don't see why he's doing that, and that's a pretty major loss. He lost 5 rams right there.
Down in the south side, I think definitely True is getting his money's worth with his Arbalest, although at this point it looks like the cavalry archers are able to push back the British archers, so those Turks cavalry archers very strong. I think it's also pretty interesting. The Viper taking complete control over the middle of the map, and it looks like he's going to turn his attention to Daywalker. Daywalker has 5 bombard cannons, very expensive. It'd be a huge loss if he lost them all. Losing 2 already, he's going back, and looks like he's going to get away with 3. However, his castles are in danger now from the British army.
I just got to quickly ask, what minute are you on?
I'm at 14.
Yeah, darn it. I'm at 11. I have no idea why.
Okay, I could, you can speed it up to 15 minutes. Tell me when you're there. Hussar now moving in under the onagers, able to take out quite a few of them. The longbow is still sitting pretty at the back, though. You need something to do a little more damage to the onagers. Perhaps those bombard cannons moving forward. Bombard cannons 14 range, longbow at 12 range. What minute are you at JRed now?
I'm at about 13.
Alright, speed up until you're at 15. Or 16.
Yeah, that's alright. That's it. Yeah, I should have known this was gonna happen, but yeah, there's some major damage doing that those bombard cannons are doing to the longbows. But just that range is, like you said, is so important.
Yeah, down in the south, Tato really giving some heavy blows to True, taking out now a second castle. True saying really need rams. He needs a lot of rams to soak up this arrow fire. It looks like the cavalry archer opening from Tato being a lot more successful than the camel opening from Daywalker at this stage of the game. As you mentioned earlier, Tato burning through a lot of gold with the cavalry archers, but not really losing a lot of cavalry archers. They've been pretty well protected behind the Hussar and the siege of Tato.
Yep, and I guess that's the thing about Turks and Britons mirror matchup, because the Britons, if you don't have the siege ram, you struggle to counter the Britons, but the Turks do supply that siege ram. And it's interesting because ranged units are normally pretty good versus the Turks because they don't have very strong cavaliers, and because they don't have skirmishers, obviously, which doesn't matter that much in deathmatch. But yeah, I can see he says I really need rams. But yeah, I think that's kind of interesting how that team play works.
Yeah, and as soon as Daywalker comes in here with the rams, able to soak up a lot of the arrow fire. True pushing out a little bit, though. I feel like he needs something else in this composition. Just, those cavalry archers are so damn strong. Maybe some onagers and some halbs would be a nice addition to that. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. I'm at minute 18 now. What are you at?
1930. Just a little bit further, but that's fine.
That's fine.
True saying he has a lot of resources. Obviously, he's done a good job getting his economy up, so he's going to help supply them to Daywalker. Looks like they're trying to push out a little bit more. I don't really see that heavy siege that True would need to take down this castle of Tato, but he's doing his best to whittle down some of Tato's cavalry archers from a distance. And big thing this game is just being efficient with your units, trying not to lose them, and getting the most value out of these gold units as possible from a distance.
Yeah. That's kind of the big advantage of the cavalry archers, that you can move it around. But with these top-level micro, the longbows still become very effective as well. All right, I'm at minute 20 now, and that's game speed 75. What are you at?
I'm at 21. I can slow down a little bit.
All right. Well, I think we can just go from here. It'll be fine.
Castle coming up from the Viper. He's having a little bit of trouble going through these castles of Daywalker, so he's trying to push in inch by inch by building this castle. Perhaps we need to see some more trebuchets from the Viper. It's kind of a risky move going up with this castle, though, because it's immediately being trebbed down by Daywalker. So Daywalker's doing a great job at holding his ground, and we'll see if he's going to be able to push back, though. Going up this hill is certainly going to be a huge challenge. The Viper now coming in with, I don't know, 7 or 8 trebuchets, and we all know the British have some of the best trebuchets in the game with the extra splash damage on their trebuchets.
Yeah, totally. And because we all know that Viper has some of the best micro in the game, that he's definitely going to be able to use those trebuchets as effectively as possible. possible to take down those units of Daywalker, and it can be, we can see that there's going to be like long-range onagers almost. That can be pretty interesting.
Yeah, certainly against those elite Janissaries. Again, really liking Tato's army composition a little bit better. Cavalier and Heavy Cavalry Archer as opposed to Janissary and Heavy Camel. I think it just works a lot better against the armies at hand. True now coming in, trying to help out his ally a little bit, try to pick away at those longbows, and Tato's going to try to soak up the arrow fire with the siege rams. One more castle does go down from Daywalker though, and he is losing ground just little by little. Here comes the Cavalier from Tato as well, so he's going to try. Everyone's basically over on this top side, and they're really focusing on it over here. This could be the end of Daywalker, I feel.
Yeah, it could. Just, I guess that the thing you got to remember is that it's easy to make big pushes, but you have to really absolutely follow through with those pushes. And if the players fail to do that, all that'll happen is that it'll just be a back and forth kind of tug of war. Yeah,
the real big killing blow though is, taking out these castles is great, but if they could get into the trade line, obviously you can't win, especially with these civilizations, especially with the Turks. You can't win without gold, so if either player can get as far as the trade line, then that would be an automatic good game.
Yes, definitely. You gotta have to remember though that oftentimes players like to flump up their units when they get in the trade, and just one or two onager shots will completely turn the tide of battle. And that's something that you have to be very careful about happening. But because there have been so many games where I've seen that happen and thinking, oh yes, I'm in the trade, and then all my units got shot. So you just have to be very careful.
But these are pros, JRed. That wouldn't happen to a pro player now, would it?
I don't know. I think I saw Viper lose like 20 longbows.
Oh, that's because he intentionally lost them, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely.
So absolute map control from Tato and the Viper. Looks like True's base could potentially be next if Tato wants to redirect over there. Looks like the Viper has lost a little bit of momentum, but that could possibly be because Tato is redirecting in the south.
Yeah, you can see Tato, he's now going and taking down some of these castles, just cleaning out some of the outer buildings of True, I guess you could say. And it's important that you make progress on both players, because you don't want to focus all your attention on one side and then have your opponents get into your trade line. So you need a very good balance. But on the other hand, you have two different civilizations, and you've got to try to counter your opponent in the best way possible.
That's the big key for a lot of team games, is how much do you focus on each side, how much do you combine your armies, split your armies, what positions are particularly important. I think the Viper has decided that this hill is particularly important for him. Unfortunately, Siege Ram's getting on top of that castle, so Daywalker's saying go, go, go. He's finally going to make his big play uphill. He's I'm sure he's referring to True's longbow. He wants his longbow to get to the action a little bit more. But Daywalker's going to definitely try to take this hill, and if he takes this hill, good chances for him to get back at the Viper.
Yeah, definitely. It's because that hill is just going to be so important because the attack bonus that it gives longbowmen, obviously, but also it has a very important map control position, because your opponents are going to have to go to the right behind that hill in order to get to the trade, and if they want to take the middle, they'll also have to get that hill. So that's a very strategic position. That's very important for fighting.
But the sneak attack from Tato, Tato's coming down the middle with just tons of siege rams and being supported by the Viper's longbow. Those siege rams should get at least 3 castles, and castles are really so important in any late game scenario. When you're stuck at around 200 pop, as most of these players are, having castles out is like having extra population. It's attack power that doesn't cost any population space. And finally, those cavalry archers going for the trade. If they can take down a lot of trade cards right here, it could be the game.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really important that you get that trade, because that really slows your opponent down. And if you look at the populations, both teams are at pretty high populations, but the moment that population starts to go down is where the snowball happens. Cause lots of people play in 300 population games, but when you play in a 200 population game, you have to make each population slot count. And if that trade gets taken down, that is a very major problem for players.
And once again, we're seeing some of the strength of those Turkish cavalry archers. Very fast, the longbows are not able to catch them out. They're able to move away just a little bit. And a little bit of lack of teamwork. Daywalker spending a little too much time patrolling and not enough time fighting these cavalry archers. And they're able to get more additional kills onto the trade cards. You can see Daywalker asking for gold. He's out of gold because he's lost a bunch of trade cards in this with these cavalry archers. And I wonder if True has the gold to supply it. True only has 1,000 gold in the bank right now.
The cavalry archers are finally going to go down now. They're going to get cleaned up by Daywalker's camels.
Oh my god. Look at Viper on the hill. Look how crazy that is.
That is a large army.
That is a lot of longbows. Camels, okay, let's see what camels can do against longbows. Camels are supposed to counter cavalry. I don't know if anything counters longbows like that. That looks like 1600 Black Forest after 2 hours of gameplay. And they mass up 100 elite longbows altogether.
And now you see Viper, he's getting those Yeoman towers up, because Yeoman also affects towers, I believe. Or maybe it's not Yeoman, maybe it's their civilization bonus.
No, it's the Yeoman technology. It's rarely used, but now that we're seeing, you know, this particular situation could be very strong. Again, we talked about towers not needing population space. So it's very good at solidifying that position. Again, going back to the beginning of the game, we did talk about the importance of positioning in Deathmatch, and part of positioning are hills, knowing which hills are important and which may not be. And the Viper's certainly digging in as much as he can onto this hill.
Yep, and there's a really good advantage about using towers over castles. You know what that is that a castle will go down to a few siege rams. And so will towers, but the siege rams have to move from tower to tower. And even if he loses one tower, it's not that big of a deal as compared to losing one castle. So I think that's why Viper probably decided to go for these towers.
And I'm just waiting. To make this game complete, I do want to see a big trebuchet shot onto some of these Janissaries. I don't think we're going to see it, but I'm still hoping for it. It looks like he's retasked him. He's going to go for it. There he goes! Taking down a ton of Janissaries. Oh my gosh.
He's going for it. Nope. Oh, that's awesome.
I can tell you're like 2 seconds behind me.
Oh, I am? Oh. Oh well.
That was okay. Tato pushing in the south as well. Few bombard cannons, not as much siege as I'd like to see, but this combination is really not working. I'm seeing a lot more teamwork, I think, from Tato and the Viper. They're really combining their armies a lot more so. I've always seen Tato siege rams in the north, and in the south, a lot of the Viper's longbows, but just by themselves, the Brits is not really able to handle, I feel like, these cavalry archer and bombard cannon combo. Daywalker saying Brit's tougher right now.
Yeah. And I guess the thing about the cavalry archers is that they can, like we said earlier, they have the mobility, but because they're Turks, they also can survive a lot longer than other civs because they have 20 more HP, and that's very, very huge, because that means they'll die to way less shots, which means they can go on to deal a lot more damage.
Daywalker commenting, we lost a lot of trade cards. He's still feeling the effect of that earlier raid, which goes to show how important those trade raids are. It's just simply a lot easier for the Viper and Tato to do because they have about 70% in the map control right now. And they're right there, right next to the trade. And they're going to call GG right there. Daywalker not able to get enough gold at this stage of the game, and Turks without gold is... all they're able to make is Hussar, not able to make any dent into the longbow of the Viper.
Yep, I've also liked the Vipers and Tato's army compositions a little better, because the camels, even though they work well against cavalry archers, that's really all they have to offer, and even though cavaliers aren't paladins, they're still better. So I liked Tato's and Viper's army comps way better.
Good play from Tato and the Viper. They're obviously going to be one of the top contenders in the upcoming deathmatch tournament. True's got his True and Daywalker separate teams, although True's team is certainly going to be a very, very tough match for the Viper. These guys, I believe, played about 5 games today and was about even series, probably about 3-2. So it gives you a little bit of a sneak peek as to what to expect in this tournament. Certainly should be a very close and very exciting tournament.
Yes, definitely. I'm very excited for it.
Anyway, thank you for casting with me, JRed. I'm sure we'll see you in some future community games. Everyone on the channel, make sure to check out JRed's YouTube channel. It's got a lot of great content, not only for Deathmatch, but also a lot of unique unit overviews and a lot of other additional content as well. So I recommend you check him out.
Thanks a bunch.
All right, see you soon.
Bye.
And if you're on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.